Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible and all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your farcical skibbity hosts. Joining me as always is our other farcical and skibbity host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
What the fuck does skibbity
You'll
mean?
find out later. We'll talk about
Okay,
it.
I'm excited. Okay, so um I have two things.
Yeah.
Uh did you know okay. Speaking of comedy, reading the news every day is funny. So Alcatraz is apparently going to be redone and reopened.
Cool.
I know.
As a tourist resort?
No, as
Okay,
an
I
actual
know.
prison.
Rad, that's I'm oh man. I'm
And
so
I read it and I
glad.
was like, "Oh God, I need to watch The Rock again."
Well,
And
that's I mean, yeah.
I had the Playmobil set
Hmm.
and like I bought it for the kids. I don't know, like they were little and it was like fun jail, you do like jail or like the firehouse or whatever and you would get the Playmobil
Yeah.
like, because they I don't know why I bought the jail, but I did. Anyways, they had like in the Playmobil set so many guns and also like the fake hair that the guy used
Hmm.
when they were like breaking out of the most and the only people that actually ever broke out and
Yeah.
escaped. And there were three dudes, I think. Anyways, so I think that Playmobil, which is based out of
Oh, San
not
Francisco? No.
no, I think it's like I thought it was a European company.
What the
Um,
fuck? That's wild. Like what?
yeah, I know. It was cool. I was like, I'm like this is like mimicking the Alcatraz breakout. It was pretty interesting. So
What?
you can still buy it and no one
Okay.
really recognizes that that's a thing. So very excited about that.
Yeah, that rocks.
Also,
Hmm.
you're now talking to a Wikipedia editor.
Oh, excuse me.
I've gone like full nerd and I signed up. It's free to sign up and it's free to spend your time editing Wikipedia.
Thank God.
I know. So I'm looking at Playmobil headquarters. Sorry.
Huh?
It's a German company.
Do you get a pen? Do you get a pen that says I am a Wikipedia?
You get nothing. I pay them money.
You pay them
Actually, I
money?
give them like five,
Wow.
five. I started giving them monthly money. Yeah, but I
I
can
can
go
understand
in.
that. Yeah.
Well, the thing that bothers me is like when I go in and I want to like see some obscure person that I'm, you know, cyber stalking or whatever.
Yep.
And there's never a picture. And I'm like, it's not hard to like find a picture of
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
So, but apparently you have to own the image. And like, there's like all these copyright laws that I'm learning a lot about copyright law right now,
Okay.
I guess. But yeah, so I made some edits and they got rejected. And there's like a little rejecting robot that runs around and is like, we saw that you made this edit and we gave you congratulations, but now we're taking the congratulations back and we're reverting back to the original text because we don't think like the comma was necessary or whatever.
Okay.
That's very fun.
Amazing.
For
Okay.
those that are spending a lot of time in bed right now, I highly recommend Wikipedia editing.
Yeah, it sounds nice. Like
Mm.
reverse lucrative and that it's taking
Yeah,
money away.
absolutely.
Amazing.
Money and time.
Love it.
But for the benefit of everyone.
Oh, well,
And
exactly,
also
exactly.
there was an editor last week that like he keeps adding that Ryan Reynolds has been married to Hugh Jackman since 2009, as well as Blake
Nice.
Lively.
That's nice. That's the sort of thing I can get behind. There was
I know. I know.
the podcast How Did This Get Made? For whatever reason, in talking about Stellan Skarsgård one time, described him as Stellar Skateboard. So one of their fans kept changing Stellan Skarsgård to Stellar Skateboard on his Wikipedia again and again and again. Um, so I think that's a valuable use of somebody's time
I think
for
so
sure.
too. It's true. So I'm excited it's you know me, I like learning things. So I'm learning all about yachting right now and also
Okay.
uh yeah, just how
And
to edit in Wikipedia.
I've been listening to a lot of yacht rock recently as well. So
Well, there you go.
right,
You
it's
know,
these connections,
that's true.
right? Um,
I love yacht rock. So
so
good
do
good on
I.
you.
You know,
Yeah.
I friend I kind of recommended Young Gun Silver Fox to me a while
Hmm.
back, and I've listened to a lot of their stuff and it rocks. And then like it recommends, Apple Music will recommend a music station based off that album, and I just listen to that all the time, and it's incredible. It's so good for working. It's just lovely. Um, I was building some Lego to some yacht rock the other
It's pretty
day.
great.
Oh, what a treat.
Uh,
Um, so yeah. Okay. Got a few different things. I am continuing to be doing some dog sitting. I think I talked about this before. The process
when
is fairly.
is when is when is it too many dogs?
I don't think I'd want to have more than four dogs in a house, to be honest
Uh-huh.
with you.
Uh-huh. Because your
Like,
sister has four dogs.
yes. I mean,
And you're like, yeah, that's enough.
I don't know that I'd want to live with four dogs. I think but in terms of how many I want here, in terms of
Mhm.
what I'm looking after, have to be responsible for, four feels like yeah, my upper limit. Um, but it's nice, and like they're older dogs, and as a result, they're fairly chill. It's quite, and they've got like a little set of steps that their owner brought with them that they can like walk up to my
Oh, I
sofa and
love
things
the
like that.
little, yes.
They're very sweet. So that's been nice. It's been lovely, but it's also kind of a reminder. I think I talked about this in some recent episodes that I need to like step back from this because although it's like fairly straightforward and fun for the most part, it is time consuming and like restrictive in a way that like is kind of frustrating considering like how lucrative it is. So we'll see. Anyway, two other things that I've done, and I think they are very, I think, well, I mean, okay, they are like very British things, I'll say. So I went for the first time in I would say 30 years lawn bowling yesterday.
Whoa. All right. So we don't lawn bowl here.
No, I don't think you do. That's a good question. Because like it feels like
Like
you should
there's
have other
there's
things, petanque or
yeah, well, that's French. Pétanque is
petanque
French.
is
We have a
French.
pétanque set, but we bought that in like French Polynesia. So
Okay.
no one here like that's no one rolls balls on the ground.
Okay, interesting. So there's no like,
We have
I
bowling
suppose it's
balls.
like shuffleboard. Anyway, I'm not going to digress too much. So lawn bowling is essentially you have a weighted ball, a ball that kind of has a sort of like I can't remember how they described them, but one side is heavier than the other essentially. So the
Hmm.
idea is that you are kind of going to roll the ball, you're going to kind of roll it wide, and it will eventually like arc back round towards like there is a I've completely lost the word for it, but there's a smaller ball that you're kind of aiming for. You're trying to bowl, you're trying to have as many of your balls near this small ball at the end, essentially, and whoever has the most wins. So much fun. It's like a game of about like the way 10 pin bowling, and people will argue about me with this, I'm quite sure, but 10 pin bowling is more about, bowler smash. This is more
Oh
about
yeah,
right?
I don't know who invented bowling. Have we ever had that discussion?
No.
Okay. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, it's definitely like I remember being in Las Vegas for the bowling championships,
Uh-huh.
and that's some people watching, A. And B, like it's just such an American thing, right? You would of course have bowling championships and have them at, you know, the biggest bowling center in the country. I think there's like 180 lanes or something.
Oh,
I'm
wow,
making all this up,
interesting.
but no, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you
yeah.
stand there and there's like hundreds of people bowling all at the same time.
That rocks.
Yeah. So enough about me.
So apparently lawn bowls does exist in America, but it's just very rare.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
like I remember like seeing people play in the park, but usually it's like horseshoes and like maybe
Yes.
there was a place that had lawn bowling. But I would say like in terms of like sports that people like my age, like mid 40s are picking up, it's pickleball and
Yes.
marathon running.
Yeah, geez. Wow. Marathon running in particular, good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I mean it is like and I think that's why they had this open day is that they wanted to encourage younger members to join
Hmm.
and it is quite
They're
fun.
like, come do lawn bowling and look at and or test drive a Harley Davidson.
Yeah, why not? Oh, I saw two like guys clearly in their 50s with very fancy Harley and a very fancy was that not Triumph? It was a British brand. No,
Indian?
no, it was a British
Uh,
brand. I can't remember the name of, but they were like so like overworked and so like really fancy and really kind of like proper midlife crisis bikes, which are always kind of entertaining to see. But
yeah.
they were lovely. Um, but it was really nice to play bowls again. To say I used to play when I was a kid. It was really good fun. And I also, whenever somebody tells me, "Oh, that's for old people," or "You shouldn't be doing that," it makes me want to try it even more. So
Yeah.
it was great, and I'm hopefully going to do some more. Um, the last thing I did, another important thing, and also in theme with what you were talking about, is I did a park run. Do you know what park runs are?
Mm, I have no idea.
Okay,
You run around a
so
park together?
Very basically exactly
Yeah.
right. So it's basic. I think they are relatively new in the grand scheme of things, but I mean still about 20, 30 years old. Um, it is a kind of network of 5 kilometer races every Saturday morning across the UK. And what people
Gotcha.
do, and it's become a whole sort of association. What people do is they like travel the country and go into different park runs and things like that.
S-
Um,
I mean, it's like a way to see the land
it is.
and like meet people, and that's nice.
It is. It's a lovely idea, I think. But my girlfriend persuaded me to go, and because she's a great long distance runner, she runs a lot. She like ran 7K before she even met me to do this. And but I hadn't ran in like guts of a year, and I was like, oh no, 5K, this is gonna destroy me. I was
I It's hard.
It is hard,
It's hard.
but I ran the whole way, I didn't stop,
Did you
and
really?
uh-huh.
So that's 2.5 miles, right?
Yeah,
5K?
I think it is about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And like my legs were destroyed afterwards, are still in pain, and I even got like an okay time as well. So I was like, okay, this is good. I was really kind of worried. I didn't want to worried, but I thought that it would because it had been so long, I would really struggle with it. But it feels like now that I've learned how to run, like I know that might sound odd, but like I think you need to get into the kind of understand the rhythm of it a wee bit.
I would agree with that. I have not found that rhythm.
It's tough. It took me a long
But
time.
if you start like talking and using the term like your PR in regular conversation and like posting photos of medals, I'm gonna get upset.
Fair. No, I still only have one medal, and I doubt that's going to change. Well, let me get another one this summer. Let's see what happens. But that was really nice to do. So
That's lovely.
some fun sporty things this weekend. One deeply sedate, one athletic, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's been my weekend. So do you have any what's occurring for us this week? Yeah,
Don't.
me neither. Yeah, I don't. I don't. Okay. Shall we get into our topic for the week?
Let's
So our
do
topic for
it.
all right. So our topic for this week is modern comedy, and because we were talking about comedy, and like it's something that we have both kind of like discussed. But I think
Like
it's in
types of
types of
comedy,
comedy, yeah, like comedy
what
that we
we think is
like.
funny. Yeah.
Uh-huh, exactly. Um, But I think it's really interesting because I feel like the landscape of comedy's changed a whole lot, and it's kind of interesting to see, maybe chat about what the shape of that is.
hmm Um, it's so I've got the definition of comedy.
Uh-huh.
So comedy is a genre of dramatic works intended to be humorous or amusing by inducing laughter, especially in theater, film, stand-up comedy, television, radio, books, or any other entertainment medium. Um, so obviously, like I think there's been a huge shift in that last that last three words, entertainment medium, over the
Yes.
last like 15 years, probably. I think
Yeah,
memes became popular in like 2010,
this was a
and
big,
like
yeah,
yeah, like podcasts, it's like where
yeah,
you get and then I was like, okay, we should take a step back from there and like think through how we used to like ingest comedy
yeah.
prior to like 2010. Like I remember getting comedy records, right?
Yeah.
Where a comedian would give like, an hour talk
Yeah.
on whatever, like George Carlin.
Richard Pryor, I remember having
Yeah.
his. Yeah.
Yeah. And you would just listen to them like
Bill
over and
Hicks.
over and over and
Yeah.
memorize the jokes, right? Um, or like get a VHS tape that had, somebody giving a stand-up performance. Or like,
Absolutely.
yeah, buying books, that were funny. Like I would get like comic like cartoons,
Hmm.
less comic,
Hmm.
more cartoons, and reread those. So it was like something you actually have to like really seek out, I think.
Yeah. Very much
I
so.
and I also think they made more like comedy movies
Yes,
than
that
they
is a
do
big
now.
thing. Like, and I know there's a lot of talk about because there is a Naked Gun reboot, I
Hmm.
guess. And it really sounds like reading all
Liam
about it.
Neeson, right, is
Yes,
playing the lead. Okay.
Northern Ireland's own Liam
Yes.
Neeson.
Yes.
And like it's also Akiva Schaffer from The Lonely Island who is directing it. I think there's some other kind of talent writing it. Who knows? I think that it seems like there's a lot of a lot writing on in terms of comedy movies and things because they're just not there's not that many of them really being made at all anymore.
Hmm.
Um, so fingers crossed because but like I actually watched Naked Gun recently and it's
Hmm.
so fucking good. Like I mean like it's terrible, but it's like Leslie Nielsen's just delivery is just killer
Yes.
every time. Just destroys
Yes.
me with
Yes.
so much.
We watched the one, this was like right around the time that OJ Simpson passed away, I think.
Yeah.
And I was just like obsessed with all things OJ Simpson again. And so we watched Naked Gun with him in
Hmm.
it. What's his name? The character?
Nordberg.
Oh, Nordberg, right. And they're funny.
They are really funny.
Yeah, yeah. And
There's
I would
like
say the majority of like the jokes definitely stand up
yeah. But
to the test of time.
it'll be interesting to see what how this does. I mean, I'm excited to see. Like, these things either tend to go very well or very poorly. I'm hoping it's very well because I think there's some good talent working on this, and fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I say not many comedy movies being made anymore. I think that. So one of the things we were talking about in the lead up to this, or I was thinking about in the lead up to this, was I work in with kids with pet through pet therapy and things like that, and I talk to them about stuff, especially if I hear something like weird, and I want to ask them about it and find out a little bit about it. But like they really seem so much comedy seems to be through memes, and they will
Yeah.
know old properties, but they will know old properties through like a silly quote that has been memed and turned and like repeated again and again. Some of the kids like are fascinated by Crash Bandicoot, which is an old series.
Wow,
Yes,
really?
but because they've been really
Because
memed, a
it,
lot of the stuff has been
uh-huh.
really kind of like, especially some of the villains and things like that, and some of the catchphrases. And I'm like, so fascinating this kind of new lease of life these things, can take on.
So I went down the meme rabbit hole a little bit.
Mhm.
Because I was like, Where did that term even come from?" Um, but it's been around since like the 70s. And it was just this concept of like using, one photo and then kind of like the virality of it.
Yeah,
But like it's interesting, just even the term like it went viral, right?
yeah,
It like has a different meaning after COVID.
it's true.
Um, but they do like there are entire like classes. There's all this like real research that's being done around memes and the power of memes. I worked at a college in the 2000s and well, up till like 2014. I quit in 2014 when Harper was born.
Hmm.
Um, and that's same thing. That's how I learned about a lot of stuff, all the funny like Vine videos and what was on YouTube, which was like a new thing. And yeah, all these memes. And I didn't quite get it until I was like it was being explained to me by someone younger. Not that much younger, but
Yeah.
at least a decade. So Um, it's interesting. Like, I think they used to have a lot more power than
I
they
think that's true.
do. Like, I think it's like that they're, and you can talk to the scholars about why, but, basically, because this one guy that works for the Washington Post has said because marketing and advertising industries got involved,
Yep.
that
Oh, cool.
sales basically,
Yeah,
right? That
hooray.
that's led to the decline of like the actual value of a meme.
Yeah.
And now they're not so like it's more trivial and like less meaningful, I
Yeah.
guess.
I I and these things are changing so rapidly these days as
They
well. And
do.
it's like,
Yep.
you know, are the things that in terms of how people are consuming comedy and all sorts of things, which are through TikTok and things like that, and are really kind
Hmm.
of like short, bite-sized chunks of whatever, whether it's stand-up or whether it's a comedy movie or whether it's a game, like or
Yeah.
whatever, like taken in a kind of funny way. But like, are they evolutions of memes? Are they their own different thing? Do you know what I mean? I mean, like I think they share a certain amount of DNA, but it's
I
like,
think they're similar. That's a really good question. Because I catch myself, I'll be on Facebook, I think, and like
hmm
there are all these like AI generators that are now like clipping someone's stand up and it's like 13 seconds to like 30 seconds and it's them telling a joke or like an interview with, Graham Norton or something. And I will totally watch them. I will totally
Yep.
watch them and I will think they're funny.
Yep.
Um and like but for TikTok I never would have discovered Mudang, right?
True. But the
So
phenomenon.
I know, speaking of meaningful content. But I think with honestly, I think because we're captioning everything, it's
hmm
almost like a meme because you're adding words
It's true.
and people are reading them. And I don't think we'll ever not have memes, if
I
that's
think
kind of
you're
like,
right. And I'm like, they're still so incredible. And I think it's like such a, because they can be so targeted, and I think the ones that become really successful are, like a connection with like whatever is humorous in kind of society at the time and also with it with whatever is kind of popular. So like it's so many things, I remember whenever Animal Crossing was so big because like everybody was stuck
yes.
at home and everybody was playing their Switches and stuff like that. And the main stuff that went on with that was really fantastic and just kind of like really creative because like so many people were engaged with that. And like, again, also so many people were at home with a lot of the time in their hands. So it's like, well, why not do a funny meme with some of these characters?
Hmm. Yeah. And I have friends that like try and create memes. I have a friend who's had a meme go viral, um, which is like, that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever spend any time ever creating content like that, but I'm also not very clever. So,
I, I mean, like it's so easy these days. If you got like something like Canva, for example, you can like throw something together in a
oh,
heartbeat.
we have Canva.
Yeah, Canva rocks. But it's like, but even like, I've had some fun. There's like so many ones, like common memes. Like it's there's stacks of Simpsons memes. There's like meme
Yep.
generators, and you can
Yep.
like grab your favorite Simpson one and then just remix it whatever way makes sense. The one I quite
Mhm.
enjoyed using was I can't remember the exact. There's a conversation between Bart and Homer, and it's essentially Bart was saying, "Well, at least this hasn't happened," and Homer was like, "At least it hasn't happened yet." Something along those lines, which it was very entertaining for a while. But
Uh, so they say that comedy is tragedy plus time.
uh-huh.
What do you think of that?
Yes, I like. I don't know that I recounted this story. There is a this isn't something that I did. There's a comedian called Anthony Jeselnik,
Okay.
and because like he's really interested in that like that sort of idea because he thinks there is no real kind of like time limit and like I am
Mm.
kind of
Like
the
the
opinion.
the too soon to
Yes.
laugh? Okay,
So like,
gotcha.
okay, so his joke was that, do you remember there was a bombing at the Boston Marathon and it was at the finish line?
I do.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So this the day that happened, he put a joke on Twitter that basically said, I wanted to make a joke about this, but I guess there are just some lines that shouldn't be crossed. Right? Great meta, sort of like both making a joke and like
Yes,
obviously people
yes,
went lost their minds and on
yes,
him.
yes.
It's like obviously a tragedy, but I'm also kind of the opinion, like it's something I think about a lot in terms of if I'm talking about my mental health, for example, I really struggle with it whenever I like speak to somebody and everything gets so serious and I'm like, oh fuck, I feel even more tense about this and really kind of freaking out about it, you know? I like friends who kind of understand that this is just how it is sometimes and that what is actually better is that puncturing that a little bit. So like, um me and my friend was chatting about me being completely overloaded and how I'll eventually like, break eventually,
Yeah,
and rather than going, oh God, that's
you'll
really
just
insane, man.
combust.
We were just like laughing. We were just like laughing our asses off about this concept. I was like, I guess I'm just gonna break to keep having it on and just have a good chuckle because like it kind of helps take the sting out of it a little bit, And so like I understand the need for tact, and I understand, but I'm also like I feel like there's so much solemnity in all things. We've talked about funerals and stuff before, and death, and it's
Mhm.
like it's all so serious and heavy. It's not a celebration of life. It's not like these ridiculous, terrible things will happen. I guess, and we could spend a long time being maudlin about it, but like also, kind of. I don't know why that's the only way to kind of pay respect to, especially in cases where people died, being serious and miserable is the only way to kind of respect that. Just seems like missing an opportunity, I think.
I think it's human nature too, to like we're just, you know, we're light and dark creatures, right?
Yeah.
Not to sound like, whatever, but I think even if even if it's not a meme or it's not a joke, like somebody's thinking something right and making themselves laugh over something that's really hard.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a coping mechanism that is now, something that we can monetize. Someone can
Ah,
monetize and get on a
Christ.
stage, right?
Yes, so true. I so yeah, I mean, and I think that's the much bigger ruiner than,
Right.
making a joke is
Yeah.
the desire to monetize these things as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. So, um, I feel like right now, because I was like, okay, like comedy before before, I don't know when I'm hearkening back to, but
Hmm.
as a child, as a like teen, as a young adult, I feel like it was kind of like not really directed at anything, you know. They redid Taming of the Shrew in another
Hmm.
form kind of thing.
Yep.
Um, 10 Things I Hate About You. So
Yep.
funny. But like I feel like right now, how do I say this? I feel like it's like all topical comedy and not I don't think we've moved to escapism with like our current world yet because I
That's
just
an
feel like it's
interesting.
all like, Daily Show clips, right? Saturday Night
Mm,
Live clips. Like it's all things that are happening right now. There isn't any form of like escape really.
that's
Other than like
interesting.
the Minecraft movie, which I haven't seen and I'm sure has some sort of like, adult humor in there
I
that is
understand. Yeah, it
probably
does have
topical.
some. I've heard it's not great, that movie, but like apparently it's more
Yeah.
fun than it has any right to be.
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
not that it's any right to be. That's not fair. But like, I mean, like considering what this could have just been some dumb bullshit and would have probably made $1 billion too.
They could
Um,
have just, yeah, done nothing.
yeah, truly, they
Like
could have just.
I've literally been watching the lava chicken video
Hmm.
and learning the words. And it's an hour of him singing Lava Chicken, the 34-second song, over and over and over again for an hour.
That's a business I need to get into to create
I
a
know.
34
I
minute
know.
song, 34
It's
second
true.
song.
It's true. I can't
Eh,
tell you how many millions of people are doing the same thing,
Yep.
all for the love of their children. Anyways,
Um, so yeah, I what I think is interesting is that, I mean, like, for better or for worse, because there is such scope for comedy and there's such a range of ways you can get your comedy out there. I
mm,
think that there is, there's comedy for everyone in a way that there hasn't been, ever
yeah,
before, like
yeah.
truly, like, and there's so much like anti-comedy and things like that. And, if there is, whatever you're kind of looking for, as long as you're prepared to like seek it out, you're gonna find stuff that, works for you and like it really kind of hits your funny bone in a way that like, back and even before our time, like Monty Python was so subversive. It was just something completely
Yes.
different. And there was other
Yes.
stuff before that. There was like a show called The Goon Show and things like that, even before that in the UK. But like it was like so cutting edge because it was just charting its own path. But like I think there is so much more of that these days, and it's the stuff that, you know, whenever I was thinking about modern TV shows in particular that I have really enjoyed and the comedies that I've really enjoyed, they have been like tinged with like some really heavy darkness. So
Hmm.
like I think Fleabag is a good example of that.
Yeah.
I think
I love
that,
Fleabag.
and it's like properly laugh out loud funny, and like, but like really tense with darkness. And I think there's a show called I May Destroy You, which is essentially
Heard of
about,
that.
it's, I think I might have told you about it before. It's like essentially about sexual assault, but it's also about how people navigate modern relationships and the kind of complications that come with that. But like again, really funny in places, genuinely laugh out loud funny in places. And I think that that's such a kind of daring and complicated thing to pull off where you are, you have that and you're not downplaying the importance of this awful thing, but you're also
Hmm.
going, well, here's some comedy too, and you're like
Hmm.
marrying those two in a kind of interesting way. And I do not think that's something that happened really, and to a limited extent, earlier in the last century and things like that. But I feel like it's such a kind of modern invention for comedy.
Hmm. Hmm. I think your comment about just how like accessible comedy is to everybody who wants to be a I hate the term creator, right? Because it's just like it's too hip, but
Yeah.
like a content creator or like who want anybody who wants to get on YouTube and try it out, like can do that. Anybody that, not to say it's good or bad, any idiot can have a podcast.
It's so true.
Yay,
So
here we
true. Yeah,
are.
the proof of
So
it's positive.
so it's like on the one hand, I think it's great that comedians used to have to rely on television or records or a book in order to, get their work out. And now
Yeah.
anybody can just get on, anything live and say
It's
whatever
true.
they want to.
I
But
th
I think at the same time, like it's oversaturated.
Very much so. I think actually getting in any way, any sort of like building any sort of career or any sort of success out of it is
It's rare.
extremely
It does
difficult. Yeah.
happen. It does happen, but it is, I think the way, and I guess we should ask an actual comedian, and if anybody is an actual comedian that's listening to this, let us know. But like I'm assuming that you used to have to just like work your way up from, the gritty bathrooms of a stand-up club and
Yeah.
try and get on stage and like, meet people. And now it's like you don't even have to talk to anybody.
It's so true. Yeah,
You just need a platform and that's
that's
it.
yeah, because I heard who was it? Was maybe even Conan O'Brien? No, 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 no. It was David Letterman. I heard him
Hmm.
being interviewed recently, and he was talking about, how he started off doing stand up, and that was just a path, and now that just doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, like there are still comedy clubs, but that's not the way you make your name anymore. It's much more like
Hmm.
YouTube or other sort of like whatever sort of platform is going to be working for you.
Hmm.
And I don't think I want to like put any judgment in that because that's
Mm-mm.
just how it goes. But it's also you know sorting the wheat from the chaff. It's really difficult to even stumble across something that like it works for you whenever there is just so much out there. It,
Hmm.
it's also so okay. So the what I said at the start, which was skibbity, right, was reference to skibbity toilet, which uh, so okay, skibbity toilet's kind of hard to explain. Extremely hard to explain, and it's not really so much. I mean, it kind of is comedy, but it's basically this animation of a head coming out of a toilet, and it singing this ridiculous kind of nonsense song, right? And it
Okay.
became this whole like it really kind of like again. Why is that something that's taken off and why is something that's gained popularity? And it does have comedic elements, but it's also like weird. It became and then there became this whole storyline of these like toilet creatures that live in this toilet fighting these men with cameras for heads. It, and it's huge. And like it was really funny because I was like, I checked with some of my students. I was like, so tell me about Skibidi Toilet. And they were just like laughing because I could think, laughing at this old man talking about Skibidi Toilet.
Sorry, I'm
And
I'm just looking for images so I don't like, oh yeah, okay. Wow. Oh, I've seen
yes,
this.
right? Like, here's where
Yeah.
here's where that here's where that is now. Michael Bay's apparently talking about making a movie
There's
of
a
it.
trailer.
Jesus Christ, really?
There's a trailer on you. Yeah, it's coming out this year on Netflix.
But it's
Sorry.
like it's 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 just kind of and it's like, who could have possibly predicted something like that would take off? I mean, like, what do you make that's going to break through? I suppose it's very much like what I've talked about in the past, which is that I really kind of love it whenever something is, here is my thing, here's the thing that I think is funny or I think is weird, and I'm kind of putting it out there, and who knows, but like making it true to your creative heart, I guess.
Right. I have man's head in a toilet.
There's skibbity toilet toys now and everything. Oh, it's so funny.
Michael Bay. So I would also say that like streamers, like there are so many stand-up comedy acts on like Netflix and Hulu now.
Hmm.
Like people I've never heard of. And I'm like, who are you? And you watch it for a few minutes and it's like, oh, this is really funny. Or like, oh, this isn't my thing, right? But
Yep.
like I feel like the options, like before it was like there were like, probably like obviously like, yeah, Monty Python and all of the
Yeah.
people that were part of that troupe, Second City, Saturday Night Live. But like you probably had like 10 really famous comedians. And
It's
now
true.
it's like it's nice that, you know, there's a lady I follow, her name's Hannah Berner, and she's married to, I think he's Irish, an Irish comedian whose name I don't remember, but she's like blown up. She was on some silly TV show
Okay.
and is actually really funny. She's got a podcast with her friend and she's doing like, yeah, she's on Netflix now. She's touring and, you know, she is who she is and people are digging her like not she's not like she's like a really nice comedian.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I um something that I was thinking about recently was in terms of like, just was are there like are sitcoms still being made anymore? And I think not like I know there are some.
No.
There's
Yeah.
the one about the school, the name of which I have forgotten. Abbott Elementary, that was it. But like
Yeah.
it just
Not really.
those
Not
things
like
have
like a
like
syndicated,
yeah,
like Roseanne or I mean The Simpsons obviously is still going,
true.
but I can't it's like that sort of like laugh track um I don't know, slower paced
Yeah.
kind of
It,
humor, I guess.
they've really kind of died off actually. It's
Well,
it's
I think
just
yeah, it's almost like with was the one with Walter White? Sorry, my brain.
Oh, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. I think that was like a comedy, but it was also very dark, and like
That's true.
that kind of shifted things into more like dramatic comedy
Yes.
where it's like the subject matter. I remember because like it came out and everyone loved it, and it was
Hmm.
like he had cancer. My dad had just died of cancer,
Hmm.
and so I
Hmm.
could not watch it. It was too close, and he was like
Yep.
hiding his cancer from his family, which my dad
Yep.
did. So I was just like, I'm watching my real life right now, and this is too much. It took me
Yep.
like 10 years to go back, circle back
Hmm.
to it.
Hmm.
And I was like, this is fucking not funny.
Yeah.
And now it's funny, right?
Yeah.
Because time has passed.
It's true.
So,
It's true. And it really does, like, it's all about, where you are at whenever you actually see the thing as well, like,
yeah.
that makes a lot of difference. I,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw, I saw a thing the other day that said that, Better Call Saul is celebrating its 10th anniversary. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, people are still watching that.
But people are still watching it, and I have not seen any of that show. But like I've heard it's great, but like I just can't believe that it says a lot about how old Breaking Bad is, or how long
Yeah.
ago Breaking Bad was
Yeah.
as well. I was like, oh,
Right.
Jesus. But yeah, so like I think and we've talked about this in one of our recent episodes. I really kind of love. I love a comedy premise that like I just don't really I've never really considered before.
Hmm.
And I've talked about Nathan Fielder quite a bit. We
Hmm.
talked about The Rehearsal
Have you
recently.
started it?
Yeah, it's so good.
Okay.
It's so good. Uh, I think he is like as him as an individual, like, and his comedy kind of persona is just like just in terms of like awkwardness is just he's unparalleled almost like. Um, but like basically the setup for this, I think I talked about it briefly before. The setup for this most recent season is that there are concerns in terms of airplane crashes and things like that about communication between first officers and pilots. And
Hmm.
there were recommendations that they should do some sort of role playing to help with that and to like maybe kind of work through different scenarios in order to kind of help prevent air disasters happening in the future. He finds out that they've never done anything with these recommendations and decides to use his HBO comedy money show to do something about this. It's just I certainly don't think it's for everyone, and I think that somebody could watch a whole season of that show and go, I didn't see a single funny thing in there. But
Hmm.
I think that there is something I think he like revels in like digging himself a hole, which is like, a relatively serious subject, trying to like build, better sort of like relationships between,
They,
pilots and first
yes.
officers into a comedy premise. And like there's
Yes.
still serious stuff in there, but it's also kind of like it is genuinely funny at times.
Well, and it's also topical. Like
Yeah.
I think we're flying into Newark in September.
Hmm.
And today, like someone that works for the Newark airport was like, this is like the most unsafe airport. Do not fly into Newark if you
Oh
can avoid
wow,
it. I
really?
know. And I'm like, God, do I need to change my flight? So it's like it's totally topical.
It's true. That's a very good
Yeah.
point, actually. Very, like, I suppose, and even when this was made, it's probably has become much, much more topical.
Yes.
Yeah, considering like all the issues with air traffic controllers and things like that.
Hmm.
But yeah,
And
so fascinating
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Um, so I think also, because so many people are on social media, um, like conversations and jokes are happening in real time, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I follow Michael Ian Black. He was on
Yes,
this MTV's The State. I love him. Like I'm like ride or die since the beginning of,
he
you know,
rocks.
I was there when he was born. Not
Nice.
really. But I just like, and now he's become like some sort of like he's not even an ad hoc. He's like a political correspondent. I've signed
Oh, I
up
did
to
not know that.
Substack. Yeah. And he's really like uh he's funny, he's wise. Um he'll talk about things that people are having a hard time talking about. So I
Hmm.
get, his newsletter, and if I feel like reading it, I will, and if I don't feel like it, that day I won't. But um it's just interesting how comedy has become, this real time tweet, subtack, like someone's like blogging is kind of coming back in this regard too
Yeah.
with comedy, which I'm like I signed up for a few things just to like make myself like feel better about life in general, from people that I respect.
Yeah.
Um, and so I guess like that's and it's just an interesting thing that's happening that I've noticed.
Yeah. Funny as you're saying this, and I was looking through, and I was like, what have I seen Michael Ian Black in? It's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wet Hot
He's
American
all over. He's
Summer,
all over the
Burning
place.
Love,
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like it's just I suppose as well, with all of that, it's like hard to know how do you engage. Like it's difficult, like freaking not even just comedy, but all sorts of things. How do you engage with it? How do you find stuff? How do you like find the stuff that works for you? And the idea of like making an effort to seek that stuff out versus, the comfort food of like, favorite old movies and favorite sort of like,
Mm-hmm.
easier sort of comedy things to watch, going back
Mm-hmm.
and rewatching Parks and Rec or, that
Yes.
sort of thing.
Do you do that for comfort?
Not so much. I rewatch, I so rarely rewatch anything. But
Mm-hmm.
for shows, those sorts of shows, I'll maybe watch clips, I'll maybe watch
Mm-hmm.
YouTube clips and things like that. I'll be
Yeah.
like, let's
But not
let's
invest like, yeah, hours and hours into rewatching.
let me see 10 minutes of Sean Ralphio doing stupid shit, and that scratches that itch for me.
Right?
Which is
I
another interesting way to absorb comedy.
in like sound bites.
It's fine, but yeah, like yeah,
Yeah.
quick, like 30-minute.
And then you're like, you get your little dopamine hit. You're like, that's
Okay,
nice.
that's what I needed.
52.
Yeah.
Ta 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 ta. And it's too like I notice that I get it like I think it's I didn't really kind of pick my own comedy until like college.
Yeah.
Like before that, it was like whatever my parents thought was funny. So it was a lot of Lenny Bruce. A lot of Lenny Bruce, who was like, and then my dad would be like, "Don't listen to this," and Lenny Bruce had a mouth on him.
Yeah.
Um, so, but then I would, right? I'd listen to the
Yeah.
record when they would leave the house. And like, and then whatever movies you would rent. So really it was MTV's The State that kind of opened my eyes to comedy, and I've
Hmm.
followed them all. And I was thinking about Michael Showalter, who's another one
Yeah.
of the alumni from The State, and like he's done everything. I'm looking at his CV right now, but like uh sorry.
That's quite all
He
right.
just did his most recent one was The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Oh
He also
wow.
did The Big
Oh
Sick, which was
yes.
hilarious, right? So
I think
he's
I
like,
saw. Yeah,
I just
he's
am so
yeah.
excited when my comedians go and like do amazing things.
Agreed.
Like,
Agreed. It's deeply cool, and it's always nice
hmm
because like it's clear whenever there's talent right from the start, and then they kind of
hmm
head off in different directions. It's why I think like I'm so excited with that One of the Lonely Island is directing the Naked Gun movie because I think they're all talented guys, like but yeah, it's nice to see.
hmm
Um,
I would like to see more from Broken Lizard too, who did
oh yes, they did Super
Super
Troopers.
Troopers,
Yeah.
Super Troopers 2.
They was the only one that really worked for me. The rest of them didn't work
Beer
for me
Fest
quite
was
as.
funny.
Okay, I don't think I saw that one.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Um, yeah, let me check that out at some point. It's friggin'
hmm
even that's what 15, 20 years or so old.
I'd say at least 15,
Yeah, good
maybe
Lord.
20. It's so yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, any other thoughts?
I
Excuse
just
me, on our
think
topic.
um I don't know. I just think it'll be interesting to see kind of how we were talking about like I just feel like it'll be interesting to see how things shake out, with
Yeah.
the age that we're in, where it's like everything is moving so fast, right? And things are being made so fast and created so fast, and we're ingesting comedy so fast. And sometimes I'm like, am I actually ingesting comedy? Is this funny? Right. And so
Yeah.
I guess like I'm trying to be a little more discerning. Not really. It would be nice if I was more discerning about kind of like what type of comedy I was ingesting, and maybe I'd be a happier person. Um,
Yeah. But
uh,
it's work. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all
the
work,
effort, right? It's all
Yeah.
work. So it will be interesting to see kind of how things shake out and
Yeah.
who's still standing and who's not. And um I also worry, not to be like Debbie Downer, wah,
Hmm.
wah, but here I am. I worry about AI and what AI is going to do to comedy. And like the things that I watch, I'm like in the back of my brain, I'm like, did something create this,
Yeah.
right? That wasn't human, and here I am like ingesting it when it's someone's job that was supposed to be, taking clips of video and putting captions and sending it out, and that's her job. And that then we're farming that out to something else. So
Yeah. It blows.
are robots funny? We'll find out. Stay
Yep.
tuned.
We sure will. This answer coming next week.
I know, right?
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
love
So
it.
it's an evolving art form, and that's why it's still relevant and it's still successful. So
Exactly, exactly. I think, everybody likes to laugh. So there's always going to be space for it,
yes.
yeah. I mean, one of the issues I have with kind of like in um consuming sort of modern comedy is that like for a while there, it was everything was kind of together when Netflix was the only real streamer. Everything was kind of on Netflix, and it was kind of easy to kind of like consume
Yes.
everything. But now it's become so disparate again, and like
Yeah.
there are so many kind of services you need to like subscribe to in order to like get to experience the gamut of stuff. So it's a shame, but the world we live in, it's all about
Hmm.
making money. Yeah. Love it.
It is the
Show.
downfall of everything, though. I mean,
Yeah,
we talk about that all
it's
the time.
absolutely the downfall of
So,
everything.
yeah.
Um, so shall we move on to our final wee section, Beth? What
Yes.
has been bringing you joy this
I
week?
have, so, I have a very fancy podcast studio I record in my 10-year-old daughter's bedroom.
Course. Mm-hmm.
So today, like, usually I'll forget, but sometimes I'm nice and I remind her that I need to use her desk. And so she'll clear me off like a 2 foot area.
Uh-huh.
Today, there's a note.
Oh.
Dear Mom,
Mm-hmm.
this is what brought me joy today. Have fun recording. And if you take a nap, you're welcome to sleep in my bed.
Nice.
Special message for today. Just click the button and shine the light to read. And then there's a diagram of what I'm supposed to, how I click this button. And then there's secret
Okay.
ink, secret ink. So dear Mom, you are the joy in my life. And I am so glad you are my mama. Have fun recording.
Oh.
Same note again, I know. Have fun recording. And on this line, write what the episode was called, please. All my love, Harper St. Martin Murray. Because I told her the other day that like when my family, when the Martins came over from Germany or whatever in whatever time, my original last name is actually Saint Martin, not Martin,
Oh,
and they took the
okay.
saint off. So
Ooh,
she's tickled to know that I'm actually a saint. I don't know if you knew
amazing.
this. Yeah,
That's
so
a good one. Yeah, because like Summertown's like the name of like some towns and things like that, isn't it? Yeah.
some Altin. So yeah, maybe it's French,
Summertown.
maybe it's German. I don't know. So I will write back in invisible ink to respond to her
I need to
note.
I need to get some invisible ink. Is
It's
what I'm
pretty
saying.
fucking epic.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like this little pen and it like has the little blue light is like built in.
Love it.
Yeah,
Ooh,
so
that's
there you
cool.
go.
That's
I
neat.
know. I was just flashing
Yeah.
Andy with the blue light.
Yeah, well, I'm blinded. Um, so
So it's just fun to get secret agent notes, I guess. That's just the
yes,
joy. I
that's
know.
pure joy.
I
I
know.
I have been uh, jumping on Beth's Joy train and I've been watching the studio.
Yes. Yes,
It's really great.
I wasn't gonna harass you, but I was
No,
gonna harass you.
yeah, I
Okay, what do you
understand that.
think? What do you think?
I really enjoy it. Like I'm 3 episodes in, and I'm really loving it. I've got to say, like
Hmm.
everybody's fantastic. The last one I saw was the oneer, you know.
Yeah.
I think was that episode
Yeah.
three, or was that? Yeah, that was three. It was so just
The
really great.
the one take, the
Yes,
oneer.
so funny, so well done. I'm really enjoying it. I really enjoyed like the Scorsese stuff in the very
They're
first
trying to
episode, I
find the
think.
suit for the extra and he's wearing the outfit. And like his car that parked at the beginning of the episode, like matters at the end. Like everything matters.
So
It's so
good,
good.
so well
I
done. So
know.
yeah, I'm thrilled.
And
I'm really
it's like
enjoying it.
written by people that love movies, like we love movies. And I think that's why it's so effective.
Yes,
So I can't say enough good things about it. Like if anybody wants to really laugh right now,
yes.
and it's not like it's like topical, but they're not mean about it. And have you watched the Ron Howard one yet?
No, not yet. I think it's the
Okay,
next
okay.
one.
Okay, good. Yeah. You'll laugh pretty hard at that one too.
I'm thrilled. Like it's so like I know you because just I thought it was on brand for our topic this episode, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's been really good. And like I've been struggling to like watch stuff recently, or actually just kind of like
They're
sitting
so
out on.
short.
They're
They're
so
so
short,
short.
and
Yeah.
they're been punchy and fun, you know. So yeah, it's been
Yeah.
really great.
They got the formula right. And the cast is
Yeah. Oh,
hilarious.
I like what is it, Ike
The
Barinholtz?
lady.
No, you know his it's Sal, you know his the other
Yes. I
I
think it's
love.
a isn't he Sal isn't Sal Marky Mark's brother?
Oh no.
No.
He's a comedian. He's been doing he's his name's like Ike Barinholtz, and
Okay.
he's
Why
been
did I
doing
think he
like
was Marky Mark's brother? I mean, he only
he
has
does have
400. He looks like
a
a Wahlberg.
Wahlberg face. Yeah, he does have a
Okay.
Wahlberg face.
I was
I
like, he
could
was the
see
guy
that.
that was in The Sixth Sense.
Yeah,
And
no, no,
then
no.
no, no. All right. Well, I corrected that myself. Ha!
Right,
No
you
one can
got
correct me today.
it. Yeah. So yeah, so really great. So yeah, definitely
Also,
check it out.
Catherine
Yeah.
O'Hara, like plays her marketing role. Like you can tell she's not that person.
No,
She is like playing a character that's so different than who she is as a human being. But like every word she says, like it's all like catchphrase and like
her outfits as well are fantastic. Like
yes,
they're
that
such a
they're
like,
like she everything's got a label.
uh-huh.
She's got, yeah, it's people watch it.
Yeah,
Let me
everybody
know what you
watch it.
think.
Check
Thank
it
you,
out.
Andy. You made
Love
my
it.
day.
Good. All right, nice. Okay, folks. In that case, Beth, could you let everybody know where they can find us?
Find us at bendypodcast.com
Awesome.
and let your friends know we are here.
Yes, please.
Please
All right, folks. In that case, as always, we'd like to remind you to
stay
stay bendy.
bendy. You can tell I've been doing all my vocal exercises.
Yeah, that vocal
Air
fries.
fry for
Perfection.
everyone.
All right.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.